Howdy, everybody. Humanities 4, Shasta College through film studies. How's it going? Did you watch anything interesting this weekend? Did you watch a movie on your own, not the one that I assigned? Hopefully, you working on those papers are all without a cause. On the waterfront, I'm still catching up on the Citizen Kane papers, so maybe we're done. Anyway, hopefully, you all had an interesting weekend. Did something fun. I went to the music thing that was downtown. A lot of good music we had. Okay, today I want to go over a movement in cinema history that was really important, and it resonates to this day. And it didn't start in this country; it started in France, Paris to be exact. And it started with two films that sort of shook the world of cinema, and it was done in the classic mode, say, video mode with classic stories and camera and that sort of thing. And these two films broke out of the mold and kind of established more of an independent type of. You're talking about two films. You're probably going to write a paper about one of them. I want to sign it till the end of the week. But one is called Breathless by Jean-Luc Godard, who just passed away this week at 91 years old. I think I talked about him last week. I should say passed away last week. He was he never stopped creating cinema. He believed in it all the way, even when it changed. Marvel Comics, but he did his own thing in his own way, and he always had an audience. Big film here that he directed in 1959 called Breathless. It's a it's a homage to actually crime stories, film noir stories in America. He was a huge Humphrey Bogart fan. That's in the movie, and it's about a guy who's a petty thief, not a bad guy, but he does a bad thing. They have a really rather frank uh, relationship, and as he's on the run from the law, and it's filmed in a very new way, a lot of handheld camera, a lot of what they call jump cuts. That's an editing thing. You don't need to know about it, but I'm just saying it's when that Hollywood does. They go, he broke all the rules. Now, a lot of it was because he didn't have any fancy money, and so he went out on the street with a couple actors and a cameraman and a sound man or two, and that was it. And they run and gun with the camera on the streets, very much based on this is filmmaking due to circumstance, not due to fancy money and studio backing. The power to tell a story is so strong that they did what they had to do to get out on the street to film, and they did. And this is a great example. It made stars out of Jean Seberg, the American actress, and Jean Paul Belmondo, who also died, a great French actor, I should say. And it's alive. That film is not dead on arrival. It's it looks great. It's filmed in glorious black and white in the street, and the images and the sound created something we hadn't seen before on this scale, on the national stage, I should say. The other film I want you guys to look at this week is called The 400 Blows by Francois Truffaut, which was made in 59, also or thereabouts. And it was also a revolution, a lot different than Breathless, more of a classical, once again, on the streets in Paris. The Third Kind by Steve Spielberg. Truffaut's in Francois Truffaut, if you so desire to see what I think is Steve Spielberg's best movie. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which came out. "400 Blows" is childhood. I guess you'd call them juvenile halls, but they weren't called that. He was sent away because he He misbehaved in school, was a petty thief. He was kind of a feral kid on the street, engaging. He loved movies. And so this movie is essentially looking at his life. Parents who, and he gets into trouble. And it shows Paris at a time, post-war Paris. Before, Paris was occupied by the Nazis, so things are changing. More movies with the same actor as he grew up. All worthy films, and the actor plays the same character. He plays this young kid. What does 400 Below means? Well, you should look that up. It's essentially a state of mind about the brutality of growing up. There's a lot of humanness in it, anger, and honesty. It never gets old. They just released it in New York City this week. It's playing on a brand new print. I'd like to see that print, but it's not going to ever come out this way, probably. Maybe it will. These are films you watch over and over again. Do you ever watch film? No. Yes, I have to teach this class, but that's not a problem watching Citizen Kane again, because I'm always surprised and shocked what I see again. So 400 Blows and Breathless have that much intrigue in them and that much meaning. These films are so profound on an American audience that film students at USC, UCLA, NYU, Columbia, and we're going to talk about that probably next week. But these films were such an influence on people like, if you know these people, Francis Ford Coppola, who did The Godfathers, Martin Scorsese, who did everything from Raging Bull to Taxi Driver, to Steve Spielberg, who Counters and all the rest, and George Lucas, Star Wars. Have you heard of that? Yes, I'm sure you have. Paul Schrader, who wrote Taxi Driver and directs his own movies. John Milius, who wrote Apocalypse Now and directed his own movies. All these filmmakers were so influenced by these films. Robert Altman, who would direct Nashville, McKay and Mrs. Miller, MASH. Hal Ashby, who would direct Harold and Maude and Shampoo. All these filmmakers were profoundly influenced by the French New Wave. They saw a new way to film a story with a camera. Not the old-fashioned studio fuddy-duddy way. This is a low-budget, down-and-out, creative way. And their effect is still felt to this day. There were other French New Wave directors. I'm going to focus on these two right now, but I will pose a little bit of a documentary. You'll see others. Agnes Varna was one of the only women involved in that, and others. And you'll see that in a little documentary that I got to go find on YouTube, and I'll post it for you guys. So, where are we on the textbook? I'd have to look. I don't know. I'll talk about the textbook and the documentary. I want you to keep watching the story film next time, not today. Today is about French New Wave. I'll keep it short. And I want you guys to look at the documentary. I'll post about the French New Wave so you'll kind of get an understanding of it. Don't be afraid of subtitles. You all know, hopefully you can read good enough that it's not a hassle. But it's okay to miss the dialogue to look at the images because you know what they're saying. It's the human condition. We're all saying the same thing. We're all saying, I exist. Hear me. See me. Pay attention. See you next time. Story of Film continues.